Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 1 of the Exordia Creative podcast. I'm your co-host, Quentin Solomon, and with me is...
I'm Lund.
And today, we're talking about what this podcast is going to be about and what you can come to expect.
First things first, I just want to let you guys know we're doing a little bit of a giveaway. We partnered up with Steve's Pizzeria, one of our clients here in town, and we're going to give away a Detroit deep dish pizza. Kind of a tongue twister. So we're going to put some details in the description, let you know how you can enter, but we want a lot of people to see this. We want to get it shared. We want everybody to know about the Exordia Creative podcast. So, yeah, we thought that'd be a cool little incentive.
Yeah, for sure. So I think what we should probably talk about is what the heck this podcast is going to be about. Maybe we can talk a little bit about how we're going to have this set up, just like the initial stuff.
Yeah, so we're trying this. We do plan on having guests in the future. For episode 1, it's just going to be Quentin and I. We've got another microphone on the way, so we're going to be playing around with the setup, how we configure this. So let us know what you think. Like, give us some feedback.
Yeah.
Do you like the sound? Do you like the background? Do you like what we're doing? Let us know, because we're just kind of playing with it.
Yeah. Kind of the idea that we have right now for the podcast is we're going to have on, it's going to be local to start.
Yep.
We're going to bring on some local business people.
We do have a guest confirmed for next week,
Yep.
but we've decided we're going to keep that a secret.
Yeah, we're going to keep it a secret. We're really excited about it though. But yeah, that's kind of the initial plan. We're going to have guests on, and they're going to be business focused. They don't
Right.
necessarily have to own a business. You know, I mean, we have a few realtors that are excited to come on.
Yeah.
And so we'll have them on and things like that. And we just want to interview them. But I could see us having different segments. For example, I love really good advertisements, and I think that we should maybe watch a few and give our feedback on them, or maybe we can have people send in their ads and we can watch their ads, or anything like that. I want to have it kind of an engaging thing. It doesn't necessarily always have to be conversational.
We're going to get a TV. We're going to set it up so we can show you guys content here, or however we choose to set it up. We're going to watch ads. We're going to look at posts. We're going to show you how to do stuff, everything.
Yeah.
So that'll be kind of cool.
Yeah, I'm really excited about that. So while we're on the topic of this, I think we should talk about, number one, why we're starting a podcast, why we think that starting a podcast is a good idea for any brand, really. And number two, what is the state of social media in 2020? I think we should have a conversation about that.
Okay. Yeah, so we were just talking about this before we started. And the reason we wanted to start a podcast is because there's a lot of cool stuff going on in Chatham that not everybody knows about. I mean, the business community is pretty tight-knit here in town, so you do get to know a lot of people fast. But I think outside of that, it's easy to overlook what's going on. A lot of people think that, Chatham is boring and there's not a lot going on here and there's not a lot of opportunity for growth here. And I think below the surface, there actually is a lot. So I think it'd be cool to kind of make a platform. And we're not the only one. There are other good podcasts right here in town. But I think it would be cool to provide a platform to maybe interview some cool people just involved in business, economic development, stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And yeah, I mean, I couldn't say that.
That's kind of why we started. And we just like talking. We just like experimenting with new stuff.
Yeah.
We like podcasts. We think they're cool.
This is also going to be a content king for us as well, because the whole idea is that we can create individual content that we can then put out on our Instagram in little clips. So for example, what we think about TikTok, and then we could just take that segment of the podcast and put that out.
Break it down. I don't know how long this is going to be, but chances are you're not going to watch the full thing all the time. I don't know, maybe, hopefully, if you're into long form content, but yeah, we can break it up.
Yeah.
And kind of milk it for more.
Totally.
So that's kind of why we're doing it. And just the opportunity to meet new people. And going back to the giveaway, so we're partnering up with Steve's Pizzeria this time, but in the future, we're going to partner up with some of our other clients and do some cool giveaways and cool partnerships. So you guys can look forward to that.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's talk about social media in 2020. What do we think? What does the landscape look like?
Okay, so a lot of it's the same, but a lot of it's different. So first of all, Facebook's still relevant. Instagram is still relevant. TikTok, I think, is becoming relevant. We're just kind of dipping a toe. We've made a little bit of content for TikTok. We're not fully there, but I know a lot of personal brands and creators like that are making big investments in it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's not so much about which platforms are dying. Like Facebook and Instagram are still king. And I don't think they're going anywhere in 2020 personally. I think LinkedIn is an important platform that we should be talking about because there's a lot of attention on it and not a lot of content being created. So there's like this weird flux in the supply and the demand where I think it's easy to get a lot of visibility on LinkedIn because there's just less people vying for attention as opposed to an Instagram.
We've even experienced that.
Yeah.
Our content does decently well on LinkedIn, and we don't have much of a following, really. It's almost like the golden age. And then as far as TikTok goes, I struggle to figure out what we could even do on TikTok because I'm almost starting to feel too old to be playing on TikTok, but I don't want to be that old crotchety guy that says, oh, back in my day, we just stuck to Instagram. But I do realize that a lot of eyeballs are on TikTok, and there's actually paid ads on TikTok now too.
I think it'd be cool for like short-term rapid fire content. Like you were saying about the podcast being a content provider because we can break it down into smaller pieces.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people are doing that on TikTok already.
Yeah.
So if you're watching this in the future, you might be seeing this on TikTok. You might be seeing like a little breakdown of this podcast.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
You never know.
Yeah. I almost feel like TikTok is kind of like the second coming of Vine.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, it has a lot of the same features and stuff like that.
But I mean, it's really Musical.ly, right?
Yeah. Well, they shut down Musical.ly and now it's TikTok.
It was an American app named Musical.ly that was purchased by a Chinese company that had TikTok, if I understand correctly. But yeah, people say Facebook's dead. Facebook is not dead. Facebook is such a repository of information, especially for businesses. It's more thorough than like Google My Business. That's where you can go to see a business's hours, what they do, their whole story. So, I understand that the demographic is aging up. I understand that your grandma is now on Facebook and maybe you're not browsing the timeline or the homepage like you used to. But I think Facebook has so much intellectual property. They're such a key player in the game. They're not going anywhere.
No.
And they're really good at reinventing themselves as
well. Absolutely. What else could we touch on for the first podcast?
In terms of social media today, what we're doing is you're looking at, this is a podcast. We're going to be doubling down on our podcast in 2020. We're aiming for an episode a week. So you're going to be seeing a lot of us here. Another thing that we touched on, if you saw our post last week, is we're going to be introducing some education content. So we might actually be inviting you into our space here to do seminars or in-person kind of small group stuff. But we also want to package and sell some online courses. Some of it's going to be small. A lot of it's going to be free. You're going to be seeing it if you follow Exordia Creative.
Yeah.
And we're experimenting with the medium and the format of what we're doing, but we're going to be dipping into educational content pretty soon. That's kind of our second big project.
Absolutely.
After we start the podcast.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we have set a marketing budget for ourselves this year, and you can expect a lot more proprietary content, a lot more video, a lot more blogging, everything.
Yeah, for sure.
That's our strategy coming into 2020.
Sorry, I've got to jet back just a little bit. I noticed that you didn't even touch on Twitter.
I didn't mention
social media, not at all.
Yeah. So personally, I don't use it for any of the clients that I'm currently managing, nor do I use it personally, nor do we advertise much there as a business. I think there is a time and place for it. It's just our current clientele, I probably wouldn't advise it to them. It's more suited for public figures. We work with one public figure at the moment who I think uses it.
Yeah. But even he's using it sporadically just because there's just more eyeballs, and the attention and the good attention is on Facebook and it's on Instagram. And I've just noticed, I don't know if it's Chatham, if it's hyper local, but there's a lot of negativity on the Twitter platform, especially in Chatham, Kent.
It's a very political platform.
It's a very political platform. And it's also not a great place to distribute content. We've seen Facebook, they've now opened their gates up for video. You can post unlimited amounts of video on there. On Instagram, they're still at 120 seconds, but they've introduced the IGTV, which means that now you can upload as long as you want. I believe it's up to an hour. But you can just post more natively there. Whereas if I'm putting a video out on Twitter, I'm capped at 120 seconds. They don't have another app that I can share it to or anything like that. I feel like they are really sticking as the political platform, and that's kind of where they're at. And I don't even think of them when we're distributing our content. I don't even think to open up Twitter or put out stuff on Twitter.
Yeah, I mean, would it hurt you to post on Twitter? No, but I think what it comes down to is what return on investment you're getting. And I think that's the reason we don't recommend it to our clients, because if you have finite resources, and you're wondering which platforms you should be focusing on, I would never jump to Twitter. I mean, if you have the capacity to go full steam ahead on multiple platforms, then sure, but I wouldn't put too much emphasis on it otherwise.
Yeah, absolutely. And one other thing about social media too, as far as Instagram goes, I think that we're telling our clients this, that we're making a switch over to utilizing Instagram stories way more.
Right.
And we're not talking about just putting, hey, we made a new post in our story. We're talking about actually
put a little sticker over the post and then tap here to see it.
Yeah, we've all seen it. It's annoying, but for some reason we still all tap on it. But I think that we should be seeing a lot more brands starting to make use of Instagram stories as an actual advertising tool and telling stories through Instagram stories instead of just promoting the fact that you made a new post. So I don't know, as far as like a social media management perspective, do you see that growing as well?
Yeah, no, on Instagram, stories all the way. And Facebook stories is another conversation, but right now, Instagram stories are here and now, and we're actually in the process of transitioning some of our clients and kind of tweaking our social media management packages to give them less in-feed content creation and give them more stories content creation. So maybe next time we sit down, we can report back with how that goes and the insight that we've noticed from doing that.
Yeah.
But yeah, just from our perspective, our stories get a lot of views and we get a lot more engagement than our actual on-feed content. A ton of engagement. Gets.
Because one thing, I've been making stories this year quite a bit, and we started in December, and the amount of engagement that we've gotten since even just starting that, just putting a face to a name, has been absolutely game changing as far as engagement goes. And so yes, I've been putting out some videos that are like me with this high production value and all that, and that's great. But what people really resonate with is the straight to the face.
I agree.
Like, you'll notice there are some accounts in town and all they do is straight to the face on the stories, and their engagement numbers are insane. The community that they've developed is insane. So,
yeah, no, it just seems more accessible, less scripted, and I think that's a big reason why a lot of people, especially the younger generation, are more into TikTok than they are to Instagram, because you could argue maybe it seems more authentic, and to me that's what stories are. It's less scripted, less polished, more direct.
And I think there's a time and place for both.
Yep.
There's a time and place for scripted, really nice content that's high production value, and then there's a place, for example, your everyday life where you can just story it on your iPhone, whatever. I don't even know what the camera is on the front anymore, but yeah. So Facebook stories. What do you think about Facebook stories?
I think, why not make them? Because chances are, if you're a business on Instagram, you're already a business on Facebook by default. Instagram makes it very easy to cross-share the stories. And what's cool about them is, I know Facebook is in the process of reorganizing, I guess you could say. They're reorganizing their news feed and the way that their interface works and looks. So I've currently got the old one. Right now, they're beta testing with a small group of people what the new Facebook interface looks like. And it's not optional. You can't opt into this beta. You have to be randomly chosen. So we're not sure when we're going to be seeing the new Facebook, sometime within the next couple of months. But anyway, the point being, with this new design that they've chosen, stories are first and foremost, kind of like how they are on Instagram. Right when you open the app, they're on the top and you scroll horizontally, as opposed to the news feed where you can only see one picture and you have to scroll down to see more. You can see a lot of it right from the first page. And I think that's like really prime real estate on the platform. And that's what helps with the engagement, with the visibility, because it's right there as soon as you open the app.
Yep.
So yeah, make use of both. If you're doing one, then why not do the other?
For sure. And I believe it's just a click of a button to do both, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, why not? What else can we touch on? I mean, this is super casual, guys. We're just...
Yeah. Do you know what time we're at?
I believe we're just over 15 minutes.
Okay. Yeah, we're playing around with the time. That's another opportunity for a question. Is 2 hours too much? Like, when do you tap out? When do you get bored? Don't worry, this one's not going to be 2 hours. But if we have a guest on, we want to know, like, should we be aiming for a 30-minute, a 45-minute, an hour, or even longer? Let us know what you'd resonate with most.
Yeah. For sure. And other things too that we would love to get your feedback on is, so yeah, we've talked about what we want to see from this podcast, but ultimately we're creating this podcast for everybody else. So we'd like to know, Number one, what kind of guests would you guys like to see? Like,
Great question.
If you know a business owner, or you know somebody that's involved in business that you think we should talk to and that we should get to know and know their story, by all means, drop them in the comments or send us a DM if you want to privately.
Tag them, yeah.
Tag them for sure. What would you guys like us to talk about? Like, do you want us to talk about the story of the business owners? Like, do you want us in our next podcast to go over our bios? Like, do you want us to talk about how we got started? Do you want us to talk about how so-and-so got started? So just other talking points that you guys would like to hear from, that you would like to hear about. But yeah, other than that.
Yeah, so let us know, because we do have somewhat of a predetermined idea of where we want to take this podcast, but we're definitely open to interpretation. It's a learning experience. Like, Quentin and I have really only been on one other podcast before this. So this is...
Shout out to Andrew Thompson at Economic Development. He's doing a fantastic job.
Yeah, that was the other cool podcast local right here in town that I was referring to. And maybe Andrew will be a guest someday. But yeah, like Quentin said, let us know what kind of guests you want to see. What do you think of the layout? How's the sound? What should we talk about?
I think when it comes to bringing 3 people on, or even if we get to the point where we have 4 people on, or whatever we end up doing, I think that the layout's going to have to change a little bit. But this is kind of the general idea. I kind of want it to be like a darker sort of atmosphere with our orange in the back. And
or do you even care? Do you even watch podcasts, or are you just listening?
Yeah, are you watching? Are you listening? We would love to know.
Yeah, maybe another idea that we talked about is maybe going live. Like, we could have you guys ask live questions and we could answer them, or something like that.
That would be pretty cool.
Yeah. So we're just learning, taking it one episode at a time, 1 week at a time. And we got a few things that we're not just going to pour everything on you. We can't tell you our next guest yet. Yeah. We've got a few other projects up our sleeve that we might be announcing pretty soon now. So yeah, just stay tuned. Let us know what you think.
Yeah.
And we're just going to take it like that.
Yeah, for sure. And so really quick, I think we should remind them one more time about the giveaway. If you have tuned in this long and you've watched or you've listened the entire time,
thank you.
So yeah, thank you so much.
First and foremost, we appreciate all the attention, all the viewership, everything that we're getting, everybody who supported us. We're incredibly grateful. We're also incredibly grateful to our friend and client, Steve, over at Steve's Pizzeria on Grand Ave East. We are biased, but their pizza is delicious. And
Absolutely
we're giving away
delicious.
a Detroit deep dish to one of you lucky viewers. And I think you've had it, right?
I have had the Detroit deep dish pizza, and let me tell you, there's a few things about pizza. Okay, I kind of like to consider myself a pizza connoisseur.
He talks about pizza a lot.
I talk about pizza an ungodly amount because we have so many good pizza spots here in town. So anyway, the Detroit deep dish, okay? This thing is thick. It's cheesy and it's greasy.
Check out their Instagram if you want to see.
Check out their Instagram. But like when you cut into this pizza and you feel like it's soft right in the middle, but then you hit the bottom and it's just got that nice little.
Okay, we're going to Steve's.
We're going to Steve's after this.
All right.
But anyway, so it definitely entered to win the Detroit deep dish from Steve's Pizzeria.
Shout out to all the guys over there. Yeah. And we're toying with how we're going to structure it. So check out the description. Yeah. Wherever you're watching this or listening to this, and you can have a chance to win. And let us know what we should give away next time, because we're going to try to make a theme of that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So I think we should maybe wrap it up.
Let's wrap it up. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. I'm your co-host, Quentin Solomon.
I'm Jared Lund.
And this has been the first episode of the Exordia Creative Podcast.